Good morning, traders. Let's get right to the action. I have a feeling today is going to be a day to trade, that's for sure, because it looks like the SPY is coming back down. Are we going to get the bears to come in today, or will we rip it right back through those levels? Let's find out right here on Live Trading.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, traders, let's get it started. Let's bring on the boys. And yes, Zunaid's still here, team. He hasn't left us.
Haven't left yet.
No, he hasn't left us. But one thing's for sure. we know it. Do we got to say it?
It was time.
Looks like they weren't closed for too long, Zunaid.
They weren't. They came back.
All right, let's get to it, action. We know it. The fresh cut is there. That means we're ready to fresh cut up this market. Ready because the chop's out there. So we'll find out if we can get some actual trend today. Of course, I can take a look really quickly. What I'm going to do for you guys is just really quickly review some of the swing trades I have right now. I have X Steel. I have SEDG, which is a solar play. I have Coke, KO. I have ASO. And I also have American Airlines. It's a lot, right? So we'll talk a little bit about those, especially as we get towards the open. But I'm going to kick it with Ryan to start it off. I got to go deal with the doggies. And, of course, we'll take a look into some trading ideas. Zunaid will be here. I'm sure he's taking a look at some of these tech names. And we'll find out, does some of these smaller names get moving too today? I was watching that CDIO. I know that my man Ryan keeps a close eye on it. We'll see if it gets the motor moving today. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to throw up Ryan's outlook for the SPY today.
Yep, we are going to start with the SPY. I'm going to pretty much go through the stocks that we have here today pretty quickly so I can throw it to Zunaid. I don't want to suck up all of the time here. So as far as the SPY goes, we had a nice big power candle down yesterday. We stopped right at the 50-day moving average. That's what this squiggly light blue line is. That's where we're holding here today. Really, the question for me is, do we break down in today's session or do we maybe bounce off this? I could see both things happening. In the event of a breakdown, I think 395 is a pretty good target. We'll probably find some more support there. And if we bounce, I would say that the first step you'd get is going to be a test at the trend line. That's right about 400. That's also that round number. So I would suspect that if we do move, those 2 points are going to be in play here. Now, the other thing to consider is that we're actually going to be getting data on Friday. I think the market might chop around until then. We might not have any big outsized moves, or if we do have one intraday, perhaps it regresses to the mean. And then furthermore, looking ahead to the Fed's two-day meeting, I think that's the 21st and the 22nd. Someone spot check me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I would imagine we could chop around until that as well. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up going here. I don't really expect a huge move out of the market, but stranger things have happened before. Now, let me jump over to the movers tool. We'll go through the things I have, and I'll try to fix my screen. Oh, there we go. Now I got all the comments. Good morning, everybody. Great to see all of you in there. Okay, let's go ahead and run down some of these stocks here. First of all, Portillo's. This is one of the swings that I've been holding. I've talked to you about a number of times. I've been long since the 17s. It's down today on an offering, right? So it's a private placement, 8 million shares. Price is 21.05. That's why it's down here today. I don't really think that there's any action here. I mean, I'm disappointed to see it, but it's not the end of the world. The big story here is going to be the expansion, which continues to go well. So this does not, despite the stock being down almost 7% here today, this does not alter the plan, which means there's no trade on here. If anything, I might add a few shares to it, especially if it drops below 20. We'll see. Now, getting on with the movers here. First one here is going to be K-Ball. No trades here. This is an acquisition, right? This company is going to get bought out here. Kimball International shares are trading higher after HNI Corporation announced it will acquire the company for $485 million. So despite the huge gap here, we're not going to be trading it. Now, FRTX. Oh, by the way, if you had Kimball, congratulations. Nice little buy out there. FRTX. This one should be tradable here today. We actually had someone mention this in the happy hour show last night. Fast Track Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced its phase 1 study. FRTX02 was generally safe and well tolerated within the potential therapeutic dose range, meeting the study's primary objectives. Okay, that's definitely good news here. You can see we actually popped up to 286, came back to 260 and held, and then took another leg up to 332 yesterday. And we kind of came back in and flagged there, came down a little bit. And this morning we've taken another leg up, and we seem to be using this 316, 310 level as a nice little pivot. This was resistance last night and now support this morning. So let's see what happens when the market opens. We're currently at 315. If this holds 310, I think that clears the way for us to go higher here. Next is going to be SVRE here. This one also putting in a pretty big move here this morning. Saver One 2014 shares are trading higher after the company announced that it signed an agreement with Electra Afkiram to install Saver One system across its entire fleet of public buses, amounting to approximately 1,200 vehicles. So an order here for 1,200 new systems. I'm not familiar with the product or the stock, full disclosure, but we're getting some pretty good trading action here today. 243, 240, clearly the spot this is stopping. Literally, as I'm talking, it tried to push up into that spot and was knifed back down. So let's wait for this to settle. One of the things that we've seen recently is some of these stocks that are going up and down quite a bit makes it a lot more difficult to trade. So if we can actually get it to stop or set up, we're going to be in better shape. That's what we're going to be waiting for here. I think DC, this is a buyout too, if I'm not mistaken. Just going to go, yep. This one also probably no trade here. This is an acquisition. Diversity shares are trading higher if the company announced it will be acquired by Solenis for $4.6 billion. Congratulations to all of the holders. RIGL, this is another one that popped yesterday. Now, what's interesting here is that we've given back a lot of the gains here this morning. So first of all, we popped as high as 189 yesterday. We came back into 172, and we started to grind higher here this morning. Immediately came back to the VWAP, traded sideways a little bit, and then broke back down to where we were last night. So again, same thing here with RIGL, which we've seen off the scanner before. We've actually traded this before. We want this to set up and maybe firm up a little bit. We'll watch some of these key levels, and we'll see if we get a pop to and through the VWAP here today. Next here is going to be, and next and last here is going to be OPK. This is Opco Health. Stock was $1.05 yesterday. We popped as high as $1.37 today. We do have a catalyst here. Opco Health shares are trading higher after the company announced its Mode X Therapeutics entered into an exclusive worldwide license and collaboration agreement with Merck for the development of one of their drugs here. So went as high as 137, came back down to 134. Now we're hanging right out beneath that VWAP. We've seen this a lot. We've actually seen some of these stocks trade sideways for most of the morning, only to have them pop and go higher later. Last one I want to mention here, just because Mitch set me up so well, is CDIO. Of course, this was a former runner from just last week. We are actually getting a little jiggy here in the pre-market volume, not what we would expect, and we definitely are going to need for that to come in before we actually take trades here, but looking pretty good. Button up against that 6 wall. We'll see if we end up taking that out. If you take a look at the 15-minute here, can get a better idea of what we're looking at here. So again, if we can bust 6, maybe we can actually go towards that 7 handle. Maybe we'll get some more resistance here at about 6.5. So I did notice that HKD is on there, but you all know the story with HKD. We don't necessarily need to cover that. If you guys want to trade it, just be careful. Zunaid, that's all I got. You ready, my man?
Let's do it. Let's rock. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and check out the SPY. It's all right. We both are at the same time. You've got the SPY here, right? We've got the high and the low, but something I do want to go ahead and point out is how you had this level, right? We talk about support becoming resistance so often, so I want to go ahead and talk about it again here. Look at that level there on, well, actually, I was actually trying to show you the SPY, but heck, even on Apple, you can see this level here was kind of holding on to support, came back, tested, or broke down. But my example was supposed to be on the SPY. So here we go. 399.77. Bounce, 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 crack, retest to the downside we go. Right. So this is why, I mean, and again, I'm not just kind of using this in terms of hindsight. I also actually, if I go ahead and put my executions, I actually went ahead and shorted it on this break here as well. And then went ahead and covered right around here. Obviously, never get the whole move. It's not written in the cards for me, but to get a nice little move there is exactly what I wanted on that retest. And look at that. You had this area hold as support at 245 and also at 3 o'clock. And then even in pre-market today, it went ahead and held on as support. So going to go ahead and set my alerts right underneath it, right underneath 397.63 on the SPY. If we do go ahead and come down, I expect this one to continue bleeding to the 395s. Another level to keep an eye on would be the 399. You can see how that was resistance late in the afternoon. 1, 2, and then in the pre-market, 3, 4, 5, and right in the middle of that as well. So if you'd like, I personally will most likely go ahead and wait for this 379.63 break and then the retest to go ahead and go short. If you'd like to go ahead and take a bit of a shot at 399, you can. I would personally wait till 399.77 or 400 if we can go ahead and get there. But otherwise, 397.63 is the spot on the SPY. Let's talk about Apple. 151.14 is a spot to the downside. And you can see where I'm getting that from in the late afternoon. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 15-minute candle. So that's 4 15-minute candles where you had support at the 151.14. So we're going to set an alert right there. And if this breaks, a retest, we're going shorty, short, waiting for the test of possibly 150. That should be a soundbite there.
I was going to say, I like that. I wish I was recording that. Shorty, short. We can get that on loop. Let's go.
You've got also Tesla here on the 186. You can see that's where support was. And what does that turn into? Resistance in the pre-market at the moment. So keep an eye on that. If we can't get over 186, I do expect more downside on Tesla, ticker TSLA. In terms of where do we go long, I would say maybe if you can get over the huddle of 186 or 188, but I don't have a great picture on the long side on that one there. In terms of AMD, $81 right over here. So you can see once again, resistance, boom, held on as support, held on as support, held on as support, held on as support. If we could go ahead and break this 81, I expect more movement to the downside. I can easily see 80 being revisited. Let's go ahead and check out Nvidia. 232.50s right here. That's kind of an easy one based on last night's action or yesterday's action rather. Keep an eye on that one. If you're looking to go long, I would go ahead and set things up at maybe 242.50 if that's where you want to go long on Nvidia. Right above a couple of days ago, session highs is where I'd lean on that one. BABA, let's talk about BABA. What did we say yesterday? We said, look, if you get a break of 209.49, you want to go ahead and go short. Support. Now, I will say this. I did go short on the break right here, and I did go ahead and get stopped out. So I did take an L on the first trade. However, I set my alerts, and then when it was breaking once again here, I tried to go short. Unfortunately, I did not get the retest, so this was not as clean as I would have liked. But this area broke, and to the downside we came. Now you've got 208s holding on as support. What time does Powell speak? I'm actually not sure. I'll see if Mitch or Ryan, there you go. You've got 10 o'clock Eastern or 10 o'clock market time. I think that makes me sound a little bit more sexy when I say market time. 10 o'clock, same time as yesterday. And speaking of which, let's show something, something yesterday. 10 o'clock is when Powell was scheduled to speak, but I don't believe he came on till minutes after 10. However, the market did not care. Right at 10 o'clock yesterday, you saw a huge red candle. Not a word was said. Nothing was uttered. No stutter. And the market still went ahead and trembled on down. So something to keep an eye on at 10 o'clock. Do we get that same type of price action? You guys will remember I was short. I did go ahead and cover. Hindsight, should have left that puppy on. I would have been able to pay for more haircuts. But that's okay. That's okay. We could still afford one. So we're good there. Let's quickly just take a look at any other stocks that I wanted to go over. I believe that was kind of it. In terms of Google, we're still waiting for the crack of 93.20. If we can go ahead and crack 93.20, let's go ahead and play this one to the downside on ticker GOOGL. And to the upside, it is 96.02. If we break that to the upside, we can get a nice little move there. Taking a look at Meta, we tried to play this one long on the break of 189.56. Unfortunately, we got a little bloody there as we went long, and it did not stay long for quite long. And to the downside, we broke the levels to the downside as well. So still have an alert set in case we ever want to go long on Meta, but it probably will not be today. And then let's see the Qs. Once we went ahead and just cracked that 300, look at that. We talked about the $300 level, retest, yank. Retest, yank. Nice and easy setup. That 300 was just a beautiful, beautiful level. We covered it yesterday in the pre-market, and we've got less than a minute to go. So good luck to you. Stay green. protect your profits, protect your capital. But for me, the main stock I'm kind of keeping an eye on is going to be Apple. Obviously, it's kind of within a range here, so we're going to check out the SPY and see if it wants to break that 397.63. Would not be surprised if we get a little bit of chop till 10 o'clock, and then things get crazy. And there's the bell.
All right, a couple of things here real quick while we let things settle. Carmen, yes, we did. We actually talked about EDBL after you brought it up. That's what? That stock's... What's that stock at now? You're in at what, mid 260s? EDBL, that's above 3, isn't it? Yeah, 3.5, spiked as high as 4 this morning. So good deal there. Good start there for you, Carmen. We did talk about that one. And then real quick, Ryan, I'll go ahead and answer your question here, my man, because I love you so much. What do you think will happen first in the next 30 days? Do you think it'll break? Do you think Boeing will break its high at 218 or fall past the low of 195? Well, if it has to do one or the other, I think it might stay range bound, frankly. But if it has to do one or the other, I think it probably breaks its support. That's just probably because of my bearish sentiment on the market overall creeping in there. So we'll see on Boeing. Overall, I like it higher. Long term, I like it, but I think in the short term, we might actually crack that 195. We'll see. All right.
All right, team, just focusing on my swings. My swings out the gates here, going to be focusing on trying to close some ASO, looking for some Coke, looking for some X maybe on pullbacks, just focusing in here. I'll let you guys know what happens, at least on my side.
CrowdStrike after earnings. This looks like this might go here. It's CRWD. Let's take a look at the options here. They're spread about 50 cents. Not terrible, but not a whole lot of volume in those options on CrowdStrike.
Would love to see a break of 136 for me.
Yeah, 135 for me. 136 really is that candle, the after hours candle yesterday. 135, I think, sends it there. FRTX below 3 here, battling with that 3 line. Remember, we want to wait for that to settle. We're in no rush to take that one. Also watching HKD here and SVRE also off of the list. SVRE, this is setting up here. Let's see if this can, let me check out the, let's check it.
The chat's funny.
What's going on?
They're making fun of me. No, they're making fun of me out here.
Oh, you're making fun of you. What? Come on. What's the joke? I got to hear it.
The joke is I said I have Coke and I have X.
Oh, gee.
Real quick, I'm trying.
Mitch out here having a damn good time this morning. Wow.
Cocaine Bear. Forget Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Money Mitch. What?
I'm gonna try a quick scalp on the SPY based off of that 399 level that we talked about here. So you can see I'm short 200 shares of the SPY at 398.94. Stop loss is 399.19. Looking to take profits at. I'm gonna move this actually before that.
The horses are off.
Let's see if we go ahead and get it.
I'm long Zunaid's ability to bring the show back on.
Oh, here we go.
That was pro as hell, Zunaid. Let's go.
Look, I got it right here. 398.94 is the entry price. Currently, we're trading at 398.72. We got a stop loss at 399.19. But of course, take profit is going to be at 398.54. We're about 20 cents away. Here we go. Got to break to the downside. We're keeping on to the upside. I'm going to take the water.
What noises are you guys making? SVRE trying to go. SVRE trying to go. See if it can pop above. Actually, just reclaim the VWAP on some pretty good volume. 218, the high print here. Bang, took it out. 220, a little size, gone. This is a little bit grindy here, but I bet this goes higher here. SVRE.
Bangity bang bang on your side. SPY has been covered, and we have made money on the SPY.
Nope.
$80 to start the day.
Immediate pull. Sorry, Zunaid.
You're good, pal. Are you going to wait till that 2 break, or are you out?
No, I'm not in this.
Oh, you're not in this.
No, I'm not in this one.
Got it. Let me go ahead and take a look.
Everything's coming. Sorry, Zunaid. Everything's coming back in. This is one of the things that we talked about is we wanted to wait for things to settle. We haven't got any of that. If you take a look at SVRE, one of the stocks off the list, take a look at FRTX. They're both the same story. SVRE looked like it was trying to go there and immediately got yanked. This is exactly why waiting for things to settle is going to be better for us. We've noticed this trend over the past several weeks, maybe even months at this point. So let's wait for these things to sell. SVRE in free fall now.
How come Ron never live trades? Are you talking about Aaron? My boy Aaron? He does. He actually, I mean, I don't know. haven't been on his show in a minute, but whenever him and I are on, we kind of mess around. We take some trades. By the way, look at that one. So you had support here on Tesla at the 186. You had the support, and then you went ahead and retested it and smacked right on down. It's a little too late in the game for me to go ahead and go and advise this to be short. I had some options that triggered, but equity is a little too late as we've already gotten a slip of $2. But look at that SPY trade. That worked out really well. Got out right before the 398.50s. And now we wait and see if this previous close holds as support or if we go ahead and test this 397.63. Let's see. Got a couple of stocks in the chat. Let me go ahead and check out BIOL. That is... All right, so that's not my type of stock. Maybe if I look at the daily, get a cuter picture. But yeah, I just personally am not into these. To me, 50 cents is the break that you want to wait for with volume, and then you can go ahead and move to the upside. IBIO. A little better looking there for me, unless I lied. No, I didn't lie. It's a little better looking. $2 would be the risk-off area for me on this one. And it looks like you actually have a little bit of bullish activity coming into Carvana. Ticker CVNA, and I'm going to stall till I can see exactly how much money is going into it. All right, about 150,000 into the $8.50 calls on ticker CVNA. So those are in the money.
Foxel trying to push here. I like the 15 break.
CrowdStrike trying to bounce off of its VWAP here.
See if I can get a little
Maxim, wow.
1487 pullback here. I'll try to grab some Soxel on a 1487 try here, but it's already going to 15. Let's see.
Looking at Maxen, they reported earnings yesterday. Was a miss on the EPS and guidance below consensus, but somehow it's up 33% here today.
Yes, sir.
What was going on here, Mitch?
Solar, baby. Solar. It's just solar love.
Okay, and I was going to say Raymond James upgraded it. Market maintains an outperform and raised the price target to 24. Current price 24.82, by the way. So.
I just got to fill in an ad there on SEDG at 320s. It's at 319. I'm definitely getting pulled back on that name. I have it as a swing. My average is 323.61s, but I'm going in this one very, very slowly. I always go really, really slow on SEDG. Really want to see it recover 320s by the end of the day, but now just going to give it a chance to come back because it could even come back to 313 and then make the next move, right? So I'm going to be really slow on this one. But I do like the name. ASO looking for a VWAP bounce back through 62 on the day. We'll see if we get that a little bit later. Could add on ASO here on a little bit of a pullback towards 60-40s. But if it just takes off, it takes off. I do have X looking to add on this one, but it's just pulling back really hard right now. I'm looking for some support to come into play somewhere around the 2860s, 2870 level or right there.
Mitch, maybe you covered this on the swing trading show, and if you did, I apologize. But why did you select? What makes you like SEDG over some of the other solar companies?
Oh, I've traded it before, and
Just
I like
familiarity with the equity.
Yeah, and I've traded it before. I've had really good winners on SEDG before. Okay. What I like about it is that you can get the smallest position, and this thing sometimes runs 40, 60 points. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if something can run 40, 60 points, it's kind of more one of these names where I'll be protective early, really slow to the name. But if I get into a trend on SEDG, I've made a killing on it before.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
But I did get stopped out and run. That's another one that I'm keeping an eye on. Yesterday, remember? That was a day trade.
AM here, Ambrx Biopharma shares. Good shout here, Jay. This is spiking here out of the open. Looks like the first move was actually down. We bounced pretty good on pretty good volume. We'll see if this can actually reclaim 10. I was looking at the 15-minute chart here. This is actually pretty good looking, right? We're kind of in this area here. As long as we keep this, maybe we can curl. If we can't, we probably break down back to this 7 handle here on AM. So looks like a change is coming here. One direction, one of the directions is coming here. Just don't know which one it is. FRTX trying to bounce here. No bounce in SVRE. That thing just keeps pounding lows here. Going to flip through some of the other stocks. Wriggle a little bit lower as well. See if that can actually catch back up to its VWAP. CrowdStrike pulling back after that initial pop there. Wait for things to settle. Market at lows here too. Sorry.
LMT having a really good day today. Kroger is trying to continue. Can take a look maybe at Casey's today. Already getting a lift there. I'm going to look for a pullback. It already did the VWAP bounce. A nice opportunity at 214 there for Casey's General Stores as it continues a little bit higher today. You can look maybe at Sprouts.
Moments ago, you had Tesla hit new lows. Finding support at 182.50 is a support on Tesla at the moment.
Market trying to bounce here. See if they're able to catch anything. SVRE trying to bounce too, but I don't trust it. I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of climbed back up to 180 and then rolled over. Go ahead and put that on here so you can see what we're looking at. Yeah, definitely just don't trust it. Maybe I'm wrong here, and if I'm wrong, okay, but don't trust this. This sure looks like this wants to roll over again. That little fake out at the beginning told me all I needed to see. FRTX also kind of rolling over here, is unable to really reclaim 3 with any type of grip on that. It's like this is going to keep slipping. Tell you what, some of these little small cap stocks not showing strength here early on. Things can change, of course, but not yet. COSM being mentioned. COSM is doing.
Wasn't able to get a fill on X on pullbacks. It just didn't pull back enough there for me, but it's pretty close. Starting to bounce back. Got to about 64, is already back to VWAP. Could add on this one, but I'm going to wait a little bit here, but we'll look to see if basic materials can get into the green. It's in the red right now. Steel is in the green at least, but not from the open. Copper doing well today. SCCO, FCX, technology, energy in the lead. What's getting hit? Cyclical names, healthcare names. Chemicals, the chemicals. POL got hit with a short report. I saw that earlier. That might be hitting some lithium names, so be careful with lithium names. SPY just seems like it's not doing anything until Powell speaking.
I'm telling you, and I don't even know if Powell's going to be a big mover here today. I think that you're going to get some chop until Friday. You might even get chopped till the 22nd.
Yeah. I do have this coat, guys, from about 60.06. So it's like right now where it is. So I'm leaving that little swing on to see if we can get back up there like 61s. Really, this is kind of just a daily kind of break above and trying to see if it holds. If it can close above Tuesday's high 60.50, it can look like it starts moving back to 61 and 62. Pepsi is another one that I'm going to keep an eye out, see if we can eventually go through like 175 today on the upside.
Let's see what we've got here.
Nvidia, how's that doing? That's bouncing a little bit. I've talked about how in this 240 range, there's been a lot of topping action in the 240 range. Something to watch for today.
Hey, buddy. You want to say hi to everybody? Nope.
Tesla rejected right off of VWAP and also the 184s.
CrowdStrike calls coming in.
You guys want me to do the audio like I did yesterday? Let me know in the chat. You guys enjoyed having some of the audio into the stream.
I feel like that's very much like the music. It's got people that love it and people that hate it, and it's a battleground.
Like always, Ryan. That's why I ask, right?
Yep.
I try to get feedback. Right?
Hey, I asked.
That's all we can do, right?
No penalty for asking.
Yeah,
Here's
it doesn't hurt.
Here's Tesla, new lows, just flushed after rejecting off a VWAP, but now trying to find support around that 182.50. Let's go Kroger. Boy, I haven't traded Kroger in a minute. K, I believe, is it? No, it's
KR, I thought.
Yeah, it's KR. K is Kellogg. All right, who said K? Hold on, who said Kroger?
Talked about it earlier.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it mum? Is it mum? How you pronounce that?
Mumbler. Yeah, I think that's as close as we're
I'm
gonna
gonna
get.
call it mum rap. That's what I'm going with. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but it's very. I want to make a joke, and I haven't seen it in the chat as often, so please don't take it to heart. How bored do you have to be to trade Kroger? I'm very curious as to your reasoning for trading Kroger. Like,
Why
is it a
wouldn't you?
technical thing or what? I mean,
Why wouldn't you? 'Cause you
bro,
need-
look
I
at
think
where
you're
it's
off,
been.
bro.
Look at
I
where
think you're off there,
you're
bro.
out of your mind. You're
I'll
out
call
of your
you out
mind.
on that one.
You're out of your mind. You're telling
actually
me
talked
you
about that
enjoy
this
trading
morning.
this chop?
No, it's about the recent move. It's not about before
So
that. Look at
$2
this
move
move.
in how many days?
Okay, so look at the move. This is 10.47% on a stock that's very, very not volatile.
And you captured that move.
No, I'm not
talking
saying
about,
that you're
look.
capturing that move. I'm just saying that this is not a bad day trade stock, though, because you don't have to worry about this going down on you $5 in a day. So
Sure.
you got to
Which
remember that
also
there's
means
other
you're not
style
going
traders out there.
$5 per day. Well, here's my my volume thing just went crazy.
And look at
here's what I'm looking at.
Look at the trend that it's riding.
Here's what I was looking at here. Let me go ahead and put mine up real quick. I'm looking at this. Right?
I got you out there.
I'm looking at this. And then sure, you got to move up the past few days.
Okay.
Compare that to, whatever you want to take a look at a Tesla or whatever the case may be. But I agree, though. They're a little bit too crazy for some folks.
Man. Rotation station. There's people that pay
Said
attention to
Suleman.
rotation. And so rotation would be like when the market comes down, a lot of times, what do? We go and we look at these defensive names to rotate into. To capture even 1%, 2%, Zunaid.
The last
So
time
I know we all don't trade for 30 or 60% gainers.
Terrible. Peasants. If you're going to try to call me out, I'm going to bring it right back.
Oh, that's funny.
I got you, team. I got you out there.
I think the last time I traded KR was during the pandemic because of grocery shopping and this and that. And boy, did that thing stay flatter than a brick.
And that was a nice VWAP bounce today. I don't
Nice
know what
save.
you're talking about, man.
I know. Nice save. I know, Ryan. I know.
You guys
I
are on
almost said
something
it.
today. I love it. I love it. We got Mitch with his X and his Coke and his orange juice, witch's brew over here. Who knows what's going on?
Just like I know you might say this, but is trading tap today a bad thing?
All right, fine. You want to get into this? Look, I'll tell you what. Here's why it may not be. Because you had options come into this one. I believe they bought the $55 calls. Here, let me go ahead and check for you, pal. Let's see what they came in. It was the $55 calls expiring next week. They purchased approximately 60,000. I didn't think it was enough, so I didn't call it out. But since you brought up the ticker, just some insight there. What's up, Ryan? You had something?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, this is rather entertaining for everyone here. Zunaid's question is because Kroger doesn't typically move a lot, but one of the reasons we're talking about it now is because it's moving recently. It's pretty much that simple.
How's this for you?
I get both.
How's this for you? I'm taking a trade an even more boring one for you, Zunaid.
Is it MTCH?
I'm taking a Sprouts Farmers Market trade here.
All right, let's see what you
you watch Zunaid's face on this one.
Let's see what you got. Let's look at the daily. My volume's all messed up. I gotta fix this here in a second. That's weird. There we go. Fixed it. Let's see.
Actually,
Okay,
this
I don't
chart
mind
looks like
it.
it might bounce here. What do
I
you
don't
think?
mind it. Well, for me, here's what I'm keeping. I'm
swing,
thinking
team,
short.
swing, just to kind of mention it.
Here's why I'm thinking short, and this is a daily
Ooh.
that I've got up here. You've got resistance, resistance,
Good
resistance,
trade.
resistance, still resistance. And then I'd love to see it pop above 33.25s and hold before I go long. Me personally. But what we talk about CrowdStrike? You talked
Yeah, I
about
was saying
calls
this is a
coming in
pretty good
earlier.
trade here. Silver Fox day trading, taking it at about 130-ish,
Yeah.
130.50. Looks like it was trying to bounce off of the pre-market lows. Now, of course, since I said it was a good trade, I've pretty much give it the kiss of death, and it turned around here. Let's see if we end up bouncing here. I think this is a pretty good spot to take this.
See, no wonder I don't.
SEDG bottoming out around 320s today. That looks good if we could recover 330s on the day.
Mitch,
Yeah.
look, you're making up for your Beyond Meat hate. Becca shops at Sprouts. She's well aware of that stock.
No wonder I don't run into her because I'm at Whole Foods. It makes perfect sense now. I get it. I understand. You've got the SPY kind of bouncing right back
Let's
up.
see if we get the move. All right, looking at the SPY, we're starting to get a little bit of a move. Of course, it's 9:50. We're almost to Powell time, so Powell time. You know, be careful.
Pow,
out there.
pow, pow.
Pow, 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 pow. You know, like you read the comic books and they put like Powell in the corner.
By the Tesla.
So here's the funniest part, little anecdote about that. Being here in Chicago, the Chicago Bulls for a number of years had Pau Gasol on their team. And Stacey King is one of the local announcers here, and Stacey King is hilarious and has a lot of one-offs. And every time Pau Gasol would score a basket inside, especially on a spin move, Stacey King would yell, "Pow, pow, pow." And so now,
Pow, pow.
now that Gasol's retired, and now that J Powell has such an effect on this market, every time somebody does that, I play the Stacey King soundbite in my head. And I'll be honest, it's really glorious. It's really, really great that my day gets to go like that. But anyway, kind of funny.
All right, we'll see if we can start getting an up move in the market. I think if we could recover 400 today, we could get a nice little uplift. Let's take a look at some major names. Microsoft in the red right now. Apple pulling back there off the 152.50. Will we hold on 150 today and make an up move back in Apple, or will we cut down back towards the 151 today? That's one stock definitely on my radar. I know some people are kind of bearish on this one, but I think if we could reclaim 153, get back to 157, it won't be looking too bad. What do you guys think about Apple today?
Let me chart it.
Nvidia's pushing. I'll tell you that much. That's a nice little push there. Soxel, remember that one looked really nice there. Man, did I miss that 80? No, it didn't go to 87. But nice little push through to the 15. We were looking at that early. It's to 15.17 now. Leading names are Qualcomm and Nvidia that are having a nice little lift there. So look for maybe AMD to play catch up here. I actually don't mind this trade at all, but you got to be really quick to it. Looking at this pullback right now, if I get 50s, I'll take it. Boom, just got in a little bit there. Going to take a little bit more. If it pulls back into the 40s, 40, can I get to 48? No.
Oh, edible. Carmen, what's going on here?
All right, taking a little bit of AMD to the upside here. We'll see if it can hold on. Getting it on the pullback here. So I'm going to take AMD off the low of the day here. We'll see if it holds on. Low of the day is towards 82.28. See if I can get a day trade here on AMD back up towards the 82.75. I'll take most of it off there and then keep the rest for the runner.
EDBL here, huge pop. Good stuff, Carmen. Huge pop here. Actually popped above 4 too. This might have some more juice. Let's see. I wouldn't buy it up here. I'd wait for it to settle, but they did have news here this morning. Edible Gardens announces Whole Foods Market plans to carry pulp, sustainable gourmet sauces, and chili-based products. Some of you vegans and vegetarians out there are going to have to explain to me how important that is. But looks like one of the products into, or several other products into Whole Foods Market. So huge move here on
baby.
Edible. Huge move here.
Nice trade there for me, team. I'm sorry, I don't do these really fast trades often. Sorry for interrupting there, Ryan.
All good.
But Definitely a nice little trade here on AMD. Pull back right quickly as I saw Nvidia and the other tech names kind of ripping there. I got that on the pullback there, 82.49. Got a little bit of entry here towards 50. I tried to add here in the 40s. Looks like I got off the offer there like 53, so averaged into 49. As soon as it came up to the 82.75, I sold majority of the position. I could be break even on the rest and just look for the kind of really quick day trade to make that action. Nvidia at the high there. Qualcomm had me pushing. Soxel was getting a little bit of a lift there. The SPY was starting to kind of like recover a little bit. So I went for a little quick shot there, AMD. Now I look to see if maybe 83s get taken out, and then that could be the next push towards 83.25. Ooh, that was a quick one. You guys don't normally see me trade that quick, right? I mean, nope. I normally hold quick, like, and then it had to be bang in. I even kind of mentioned it as I looked at it. I was like, this is going to have to be quick if I'm going to have to go after it. I didn't hesitate, and I was able to nail it. What are you looking at, Zunaid?
I was just looking at Tesla. It's making lows again. 180.
Tesla, man. Tesla, good catch.
Yeah, you've got the SPY that's obviously, as we expected, going to go up and down, just going to kind of linger around till 10 o'clock. Very interested to see what happens here. But Tesla said, nah, fam, I'm going to go ahead and test resistance as we saw and expected there in the pre-market as well. And then to the downside we came. I did not expect this big of a move, that's for sure. And it kind of actually did it VWAP as well. So here's the VWAP. And it tested it right there at 184 and then rejected one more time. Called that out. Boom. Hopefully some of you were able to take advantage.
83 is coming up on AMD. It's pushing. All right, team. 83, 8306, 8307. Trying to see if it's holding 83s. If not, I'll just take some profit there. 8310s, 8314s. Try to take some out here. Boom.
The question
just
is,
took a half off more.
Bounce from here. Let's go ahead and see.
Not bad on that AMD.
Are you trying to play a Tesla bounce here, Zunaid?
180. Yeah, if it gets to 180, I'd like to see if I can go ahead and get a little bit of a piece.
180.66, your low print there.
Not bad on AMD.
An edible, crazy. Carmen, great hook here. I know you've been in since the twos, but just an absolutely wild move here today. It just keeps printing new highs. This is nuts. Up 41.5% here now on Edible Garden.
American Airlines was able to take 4% profits yesterday. We'll look to see if we get to 6% on that swing today to take the max profit there. Ron bringing back Max N. We're going to keep an eye out on that one for pullback opportunities. It's already ripping and continuing to rip. It pulled back for a second there to the VWAP, but already took off there. Nice call out, Ron. That's that Max N trade. That's why I'm looking for
Max N. The interesting thing about Max N, you have it right there on your screen, Mitch. It trades up and then comes right back to the VWAP. Boom, trades up again. Yep. So
it's a nice little level there, and I'm looking for maybe see some of these smaller ones start getting a lift. Run is trying to recover 24. I was looking at maybe SPWR. But let's see if some of these other names start to recover, like EMPH is starting to recover. Of course, you guys know I took a shot on SEDG. I'm towards 323.61 now. So looking to see if we can recover 330s today on Solar Edge. First Solar is pulling back, but now coming back above VWAP. Will we get the push just right back up? AAL continuing to push. AMD, let's go. 83.50s. Woo, baby. Gonna take some more profits. We got to take some money and run, baby. All right, now just got the tiniest amount left here on AMD. Look at that big push here, guys. That was from 82.49. Let's go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner on the day. Big push there. I know it's about to be 10 o'clock, so I might just take the money and run here. But I have such a tiny amount that I can let AMD and run.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. What happens at 10?
Yeah, so instead of like Zunaid ran into this yesterday, like where he kind of got out of a trade right there. He was looking at short, right? But it's a little bit of an opposite look. But for me, since I'm just so deep into the green on AMD, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stop limit set at 82.55 with a limit at 82.49 to get out on like pullbacks here. So if it break evens me out for the
5
rest,
seconds.
it's going to be nothing on the name. We'll see what happens on the SPY here.
Here we go.
We
You
get
got
the lift.
right at 10. Right at 10. Look at that. Bang. Right at 10.
But that's a pullback. It holds the VWAP here. I don't think it necessarily means that we're just going down.
Oh, I mean,
So,
you never think that, right? I mean,
yeah,
how many times
because
have we
the
seen
first
Powell go
reaction
up, down,
is
spike?
that's the algo reaction, right? This is the first reaction, right? Now you'd look to see if the buy the dippers come in. What do I look at? A lot of the times hourly support, right? And so that's going to be closer towards here 397.60s. We just cut through that. Look to see if we recover. I'm going to look for 397.60s. If we hold down there for, let's say, like 15-minute candle, yeah, then I'd start feeling like, yeah, we're coming down today. But if we recover that, it could just be a quick little buy the dip opportunity. Like always, there's two signs of every coin, team. Take everything we say with a little grain of salt.
You got a nice little move to the downside. To me, it was a 397.63 area. You obviously got to dip all the way down to the 29s and still continuing to move down. Has not hit lows once again since the initial spike to the downside. And this is the 1-minute chart. So I wanted to show you guys what happens exactly at 10. Look at the volume. Look at the algos. The highest by double, if not triple. And now we've got more session lows on the SPY. To the downside we go. 397's breaking here. 397. Something just got executed. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. And that was the $80, 180 buy on Tesla. Yeah, brother.
We said they're not sure I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, fam. But whatever. We're gonna leave it be.
That was pretty funny on my side.
Or we're gonna make $43. Let's see what happens. We're gonna roll the dice. We're gonna see what's up. We can skip a haircut for a week if we miss it.
All right, let me get Powell. Let me get Powell rolling here. I don't think he's even talking yet. Yeah, he's not talking yet. But let me get it going here. Edge.
All right, coming back to the SPY here. Again, I'll let y'all know what happens with this Tesla trade.
AMD's trying to hold VWAP here. So I'm going to look to see if that holds VWAP. ASO below 60s. I'm going to get out of that one. That's going to be a really small cut down on the day if I need to get out. But I don't want to push on that one since it's such a bullish trend. Still looking at the other ones to see if I can get some back into the green there. AMD really killed that trade right there. It's giving me an awesome cushion for the day.
You've got a nice little Jolts job numbers as well.
Jolts.
Taking a
I threw that in the chat.
Yep.
There you go, my boy. Coming through.
All right, here's Tesla. Come on.
All right, so I have it ready to go. As soon as I see somebody actually show up on the screen, I will start putting some audio to us.
Yeah, I don't see anyone either.
Oh yeah, baby. Come on. I'm gonna go ahead and move my stop loss to
recovering, baby.
Yeah, a lot of these stocks recovering here. Zunaid, did you
get
that
bullish?
I sure did, and now we're about to take money in 2
go,
cents.
Zunaid.
Oh, bro, there's no way. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. Look at that. Missed it by a penny. Are we serious?
Just don't let it go red on you.
I won't. So that's a good call out, right? Because I did go ahead and move my break even. I did move my stop loss to break even. So no, this isn't gonna go red on me. But like, bro, that was a haircut and a buffet. Like
397.60 showing right back up on the SPY. So we're seems to me like that's where the load up is on the hourly candle. That's why I'm seeing it come right back towards that 398. It seems to me like there's some buyers stepping up there.
All Zunaid needs here is one push on Tesla. Just one little push. And bang, you're going to get filled on that.
Well, yeah, I might just get pushed to the downside down the hill. But nonetheless, stops are now at break even. We were up about $40 or so. Now we're about to be up like $1.50. Oop, up.
To infinity and beyond.
Let's see.
Wriggle trying to make its way back towards VWAP.
UNCY.
Basic materials getting back to the green. I want to add to my X.
UNCY got back what it lost here in the pre-market, back to that 155 level that we had flagged here from yesterday. The only interesting thing here on UNCY so far is after that initial spike where we were rejected at right around 155, came back into VWAP and bounced from it. Now it actually looks like we're back testing that 155 level. Let's see if we can keep going from here. Confirmation would be a trade above 160. Let's see, 160. I'm trying to get this low from yesterday. Yeah, 160 thereabouts. And we'll see if we can end up turning back up here on UNCY.
You've got Nvidia. The 250 calls are coming in. So let's go ahead and take a look at Nvidia. What in the world? 250. When are they out till? All right, I gotta check this out. Let me hang tight here.
You hang tight, my friend.
All right, so this is kind of interesting. Someone in the chat, let me know if Nvidia is reporting earnings or not. Matter of fact, no, they're not. They reported already, I believe. You got Nvidia 250 calls coming in. I'm going to go ahead and take a little nibble here. Just a little 50 shares while I read this out. You've got Nvidia 250 calls coming in on the ask, expiring this week. It looks like approximately $150,000 worth. So, yeah, I'm in. Let's see what this is all about. I'm going to go ahead and have a stop loss set right there. But this is interesting to me. So we going to have a little bit of fun with it. And let's go ahead and check out the 15-minute. By the way, it looks like my Tesla did go ahead and profit. So that was great. I'm going to actually see if we can reach this 242. So I'm going to leave these 50 shares alone for the rest of the day possibly and see if we can go ahead and break this highs that we hit a couple of days ago. But my stop loss is set. I'm risking about $70. I'm hoping to make about 260. I'll update y'all either on the show if one of these gets hit right now, the stop loss most likely because of how close it is, or tomorrow. But interesting flow coming in there.
Edibles starting up for round 2 here, trying to bounce off this VWAP.
Bro, you're making me think about things. Edibles. What are we talking about?
You got Coke and edibles for Mitch here. He's having a big old party this morning.
Look, I know I took a voluntary, hey, I'm out for a couple of weeks from live trading. Mitch might be forced out based on how today's gone. All right.
What? I'm killing it on AMD.
I wasn't talking.
Gonna take more.
I was not talking about your trades.
If anything, I need some more of Coke and X.
All right, someone clip that.
I was gonna say. Oh man.
DM me. I'll send you the email address to send that to.
You know what that reminds me of? I'm actually oh man, this.
Do we want to know?
Yeah, are you late for like?
I'm rewatching Home Improvement. You remember that show?
Dude,
back in the days.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that show, like a lot of times, they do the little fake show, right? And Al like puts up like Tim's address, like send the notes here. Yeah, well, that's you guys right now. Like, send the notes here. Email Benzinga here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, keep an eye on Nvidia. I mean, this one could be interesting for sure.
Edible going for highs. This is crazy.
What is it? What's the ticker?
EDBL.
Should have guessed that.
So interesting question here from Daniel. Daniel says level for Weight Watchers long. Now, Weight Watchers is WW. Let me bring it up on the screen here. And yesterday we got a big piece of news about the telehealth being able to prescribe some of these drugs that are really good for weight loss, like Ozempic, which is a diabetic medication that also causes people to lose weight. I actually recently discovered that there are people that get this prescribed just for the weight loss, which I think is dangerous. I think healthy diet and exercise is going to be your best way. But Daniel brings up a good point here. This is a huge business. Some of these drugs here are a huge business. And question is really going to be like, where do you actually buy this? Is this actually going to work long term? We got this morning, Craig Hallam downgraded the stock from hold to sell. So it looks like there are people out there that don't believe that this is going to be a kind of a big thing. This is an interesting one, though. I have no position on this. I'm not going to buy this. But I do think that this could cause WW to trade higher. I think this could easily get to double digits in the right environment. So let's take a look at the chart here, Daniel. I'll try to get you a level. And again, full disclosure, I don't have this. So this is, I'm just answering the question here for Daniel. Level here. Well, first of all, if we hold this area right here on this little sell-off, that's really bullish. We come all the way back in towards the bottom of this candle, we probably close that gap towards 4, and that's no good. But if we hold this here, my next spot would be 6, and then I would say 8, and then probably 10. So 6, 8, and 10 would be my upside targets. If this can get going, really needs to hold the pullback here today, though. This is an interesting to watch. This is an interesting one to watch. Excuse me. We will be back talking about WW. I'm sure of it, even for just more than a scanner play here.
Improve economic conditions.
Yeah,
including adding a record 12 million jobs.
Lots of controversy here on the side effects, Becca. You're right.
4 years, while
On
also
Coke,
reducing
X, or edibles? Which one?
deficit by $1.7 trillion.
Nice.
Unfortunately,
Thanks, Marie.
many families are still struggling to afford basic.
All right, team, here on the bottom right, you will see that going on. I got the picture-in-picture for you guys. Bottom right here for you guys.
Awesome.
Mortgages.
Well done, well done, well done.
I can move it to the top too. Let me move it to the top so it doesn't interrupt with the
Move it
message.
to the top, make it drop.
To the top, to the top. So I'm looking right now at a miss for today, and I was looking at NTR. That was a nice 6% winner. And I'm a little really frustrated on this one. I was looking for 80 buys and 79 50s. It's already making the move. MOS is another one that I'm looking to buy on pullbacks. They're already making the move on the pullback. So this is definitely going to be one of those that I missed that I wanted to get in. Hey, it happens sometimes, team.
By the way, on that Nvidia, we are already at a 1-to-1. So if folks want to take profits or do something with it, feel free to. But I'm waiting for 262 to be hit so I can make me some money. But there we go. That 1-to-1 has been met, baby.
If you guys want to get the stream just for yourself, I also threw up the link for you guys like I did yesterday. Smash the like, team.
Put forth additional bills like the Build Back Better Act to bring down costs for Americans, especially housing costs.
Jesse, you saying my
Even
voice
more
saying is
concerning.
soothing?
We're just months away
AMD
from an
over
economic catastrophe
84,
beyond
almost
what
to
we have
84.50. What a killer
Rising
trade.
interest rates,
Let's go,
massive
AMD.
job losses,
Let's keep it
and
going.
global instability.
Through
I'm talking about
84.50s, I'm going to
threats
take it, rest
by
off, and
Republican
just celebrate
leadership
the win because
to force a
I feel like I'm
takeoff
being too greedy trying to get to the
nation's debt
84.80s.
if we don't agree to their demands to cut Social Security, Medicare, or other critical programs. You've urged Congress to take immediate action to raise the debt ceiling. But rather than focusing on this very real issue, the first bill that committee Republicans brought to the floor instead suggested that Social Security and Medicare are socialist threats to America. Since then, we have considered legislation related
All
to
right, AMD making the move right now.
securities,
It's in the 30s.
banking laws,
You know
and
what?
countering threats from China. But
I'm going to take
Republicans
it there
have
and run.
completely
All right,
ignored
not a bad
the
trade at
biggest
all on
economic threat
AMD
to
today.
businesses,
I'm not going to be
consumers,
mad about
and
that
our
one, team.
economy.
Look at that
Black
rip.
Walton
Final
on
profits right now
our
in the
debt.
30s. Could have
Last
maybe
month,
tried to go for the
I wrote
50
a letter
move
to
right
Chairman
here,
Henry,
but I'll
urging
take it.
him
That's
to
not a
take
bad
this
move at
matter
all, team.
seriously and hold
It
a
went
hearing.
down there towards
But I'm still
82.38s. We got in
for
there,
response.
82.49 average.
Will listen
Moved
today
that all the way
to
up
the
there
real
towards
consequences
84,
that even
33s,
the
or
mere
36.
threat of a
Not a
default
bad one there.
could have for everyone in this country.
AMD.
And finally, I'm so pleased that we're finally making progress on diversity and inclusion.
Trout,
in
baby.
positions at the Fed, including.
All right, we'll
last
see
year's
if they start
historic
pulling back. I'm going to look for some
Dr. Lisa
pullbacks now,
Cook,
back towards
who served
VWAP,
as the
Soxtel,
very
maybe come
first
back towards
black woman on the
15.
Federal Reserve
We'll see what
Board.
happens there.
With the
But
board's
AMD,
vice
nice
chair,
daily levels
Kansas
too. Look
City
at
Fed
this.
President,
Nice little push back through that trend line.
I think
So it
President
could get to
Biden
85 eventually,
Kansas
maybe
City
even
Fed
continuing,
Board
but I'm not going to push that
build
too much.
on this
Nvidia looks
progress
strong towards 240s.
by
So we'll look to see if we
seriously
get there
considering
towards
diverse
239.
candidates for these
This has been a
positions.
resistance in the
With that, I yield
past.
back the
So
balance of my
around
time.
here, the 238s,
The
239s.
ranking member yields back the balance of my time, asking him his consent. to
Jesse, that's messed
record,
up.
My letter to Secretary of the
That's funny.
Treasury, Janet Yellen, from February 28th, asking for an update on the X date for the debt ceiling. I also ask unanimous consent to submit for the record the latest CBO long-term budget outlook
Max N.
on the
Look
unsustainable.
at Max N continuing.
My scanner's dry, man.
Without objection.
Dry.
So ordered. I'll now
RIGL. We're
recognize
really waiting for
Chair
a
of the
volume
Financial
pop here. That's
Institutions
about
Subcommittee
it.
Chair, Mr. Barr.
Hey, I'm
For
digging
1
that
minute.
bow tie on.
Thank you,
that guy.
Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Powell, thank
like
you
the bow
for being
tie?
here today
Like the
to
bow tie?
discuss the Federal Reserve's monetary policy actions in a time
All right,
of
can we get to
economic
Powell?
uncertainty, mixed economic data, historic
When Powell
inflation,
comes on, I'm going to
and
look to see if we get the
continue to
next
plague
leg
families and
actually
businesses
down
around
and
the
play the
country.
chop.
It is paramount
So that
the
might be
Federal
looking at a
Reserve
SOX
remain
S
vigilant on
reversal
reducing
here.
inflation,
So
anchoring
let's go
inflation
to a little bit of a
expectations,
shorter time
and
frame
restoring price
to look to
stability
see
at
if
the
we're going to
Fed's
get
2%
that
I'll be
reversal.
right back.
I also look forward to discussing
So
the Fed's regulatory and
there's the
supervisory
action there.
activities. As the Fed reviews the bank capital framework, it needs to consider the impact to the real economy and our global competitiveness when raising capital requirements and sidelining capital
I
would
still
work at
see
cross
nothing here,
purposes
folks.
with
Sorry,
monetary
it's so
tightening.
quiet.
Don't
constraining
worry,
the
guys.
supply
I'm
side
looking at a
when we
trade
need
here.
more, not less
I'll let you guys
investment
know if I
to
take
raise
Yeah, I
another
don't
one.
supply
see
chains and
anything,
reduce
man. It's
inflation.
been slow
Tailored
as.
regulations are required
It's
by the
okay,
supervisor
Ryan.
of
Take
the
it
Fed
easy,
by
man.
law.
When it
Yeah, I
comes,
am.
it comes.
Approach would be the wrong
When the
approach.
river flows, it flows.
Finally, I urge
It's a
the
really
Fed
good point,
ignore
Mitch. I mean,
this
I'm
committee
like,
not
I really
attempting
want to
to
do
get climate
something
regulations.
here, but you really have to be
Chairman's time
patient.
has
You can't
expired.
force
We'll
it.
now
That's how you're
recognize
really
the
going to
ranking
screw
member of
yourself.
Financial Institution Subcommittee.
I'm just waiting for Powell, and I'm looking at SOX S reversal here.
Thank you.
You guys know I just traded AMD with a killer move, but I could even see it reversing.
Of when I was first elected to Congress and placed on the Financial Services
All right,
Committee,
starter
just
there
as the
on
economy
SOX
was about
S.
to collapse.
Starter
And so
can
that was my
add
trial
here
by
towards
fire,
the
emergency
85s
response to
and
rescue
hold
the
off
economy,
80.
and the legislative response, the Dodd-Frank Act, that successfully stabilized our
I got
financial system. So 15
2096.
years later, as I take my place
SOX
as the
S
ranking
reversal
member on the Committee
style.
oversight
I'm
of
just
the
playing the
expansion of
chop.
monetary policy,
First
I
profit's going to
recall
come
the
to
solemn oath that I swore
2125,
to myself
and then
back
can look
then
for the
to make sure that
2150.
this kind of calamity never happens again. The monetary policy report that we're receiving today is largely a narrative of a return to normal. Lead times to manufacturers are back to pre-COVID levels. The job market retains supernatural strength, and inflation is responding more or less as predicted to the usual measures. And by far, the largest threat on the horizon is a repeat of the 2011 default crisis. Congress has the power to avoid that, and we owe it to the American people to do so. And I yield back.
Today, we welcome the testimony of Jerome Powell, Chair of the
Uh-oh.
Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve
Are you
System.
finally going to get
Chair
on
Powell
with
was
it instead of
appointed,
just yapping? For heaven's
sworn in
sakes.
for a second four-year term as chair on May 23rd, 2022. Chair Powell also serves
Beach
as
Bum
chair
said,
of the
where the river flows,
Federal Open
collective
Markets Committee
soul.
and the system's
Have to
principal
check that out.
monetary policy making, which is the system's principal monetary.
So I'm
policy
going
making.
reverse on my trades, Zunaid. I'm
Chair
going with
Powell, we
SOX
thank you
S
for taking
now.
time to be here. We
Okay,
will
okay,
recognize you
okay.
for 5 minutes to give an oral presentation.
Trying to
on
be
the
flexible,
So
man.
why
in this
short
market.
that
We made part
and
of the
not
record.
AMD?
Chairman Powell,
Well, I'm not shorting that. I'm longing this.
Oh, okay. So let me ask
You
you,
get what I mean?
reverse then. So why
I appreciate the
long
opportunity
SOX
to
S
present
and not?
the Federal Reserve
For
System
mental
Monetary
capital.
Policy Report.
Wait, so okay.
Acutely aware
You are
that
you are
it's
short
causing significant
the
Essentially-
semiconductors. You're just long
Exactly.
SOX S. Okay, so I guess same question
over the
stands.
past year. we've
Why
taken
go
Yeah.
ahead and go
forceful
long
actions
here
to
and
tighten
not
the
short
stance of monetary
AMD? Is
I
it because you
think
want the
I think it's
3X?
the same
Government
trade.
lockdown
I think
and
it's the
full
same
effects of our
trade.
tightening so far are yet
I
to
think
be
what
felt.
one thing though
Even
is
so, we have more
that
work to do.
I like
Policy actions are
longing
guided by a
reversals
mandate
like the
to
SOX S
consumer
reversal
confidence.
Yeah.
more than I like
Without
shorting
price
rips
stability,
like
the economy
this.
does not work for anyone.
You get what I mean? So I'll just say that that's probably another reason, Zunaid. Just the pattern reversal gives me an easier risk point. I could use just a high of the day on AMD, but that sometimes rips through on AMD. We saw it rip right now, right? I have more time to get out a lot of the times on SOX S.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just and also mental capital too. Like I just got a really nice win on AMD. Wouldn't it like it can ruin my mindset if I just then just give it back on AMD, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Revisions to the previous quarter.
There's nothing worse than making several good trades in the morning and then giving it back later in the day and making you feel like
Amen.
you wasted a day. That honestly, that's actually worse than a loss early on,
Boom.
because a loss early on gives you an opportunity to learn your lesson, better yourself. But giving your gains back, man, it's just it's frustrating. That'll really mess with your psyche.
7% in June to
Oh,
5.4%
talking.
in
Sorry.
January, as energy prices have declined and supply chain bottlenecks.
Nice SOX S first move. We're already
over the past 12
about
months. Core
20 cents
decent
in the green
inflation,
here?
which excludes the
No,
volatile
only about
food
13.
and
Sorry about
energy
that. Just want
prices,
to correct.
was 4.7%.
Trying to get it back there
As
towards
supply chain bottlenecks have eased
21.25.
and tighter policy has restrained
Take some
demand,
profits and then look for
inflation in the
AMD to
core
come
goods
back to
sector
VWAP.
has fallen.
That's the similar style trade, right? That
And
we
while
just
housing
talked about.
services inflation remains too high, the flattening out in rents evident in recently signed leases points to a deceleration in this component of inflation over the year ahead. That said, there is little sign of disinflation thus far in the category of core services excluding housing, which accounts for more than half of core consumer expenditures. To restore price stability, we will need to see lower inflation in this sector, and there will
See if we get
very
the SPY
likely
to
be
come
some
down
softening
also.
in labor market conditions.
Look for SPY
Although
to take
nominal
out
wage gains have slowed
397.60s
somewhat in recent months,
or
they remain
396.60s.
above what is consistent with 2% inflation and current trends in productivity.
That's what I'm looking
Strong wage growth is good for workers, but only if it's not eroded by inflation. Turning to growth, the U.S. economy slowed significantly last year, with real GDP rising at a below-trend pace of 0.9%. Although consumer spending appears to be expanding at a solid pace this quarter, other recent indicators point to subdued growth of spending and production. The activity in the housing sector continues to weaken, largely reflecting higher mortgage rates.
for.
Higher interest
SPY
rates and slower
trying to
output
take out
growth also
5-minute
appear to be weighing
consolidation there
on
around
business fixed investment.
398s. Let's see if it takes out
Despite the slowdown in growth, the
396.60s.
labor market remains
downside.
extremely tight. The unemployment rate was 3.4% in January, its lowest level since 1969. Job gains remain very strong in January, while the supply of labor has continued to lag. As of the end of December, there were 1.9 job openings for each unemployed individual, close to the all-time peak.
Smash the
reported
like,
last
team. You
March,
guys enjoying the stream
while
today.
Unemployment insurance claims have remained near historic lows.
Stocks at the
Turning to
21.18
monetary
here,
policy.
almost in my first
With
profit
inflation
take.
well above our longer run goal of 2% and with the labor market remaining extremely tight, the FOMC has continued to tighten the stance of monetary policy, raising interest rates by 4.5 percentage points over the past year. We continue to anticipate that ongoing increases in the target range for the federal funds rate will be
AMD
appropriate
starting to come
in
down.
order to
Will
attain
it
a
come to
stance of
VWAP?
monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to 2% over time. In addition, we are continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet. We are seeing the effects of our policy actions on demand in the most interest-sensitive sectors of the economy. It will take time, however, for the full effects of monetary restraint to be realized, especially on inflation. In light of the cumulative tightening of monetary policy and the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation, the committee slowed the pace of interest rate increases over its past two meetings. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting, taking into account the totality of the incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation. Although inflation has been moderating in recent months, the process of getting inflation back down to 2% has a long way to go and is likely to be bumpy. As I mentioned, the latest economic data have come in stronger than expected, which
Someone
suggests
try to go
that the
Sox
ultimate
out
level
here.
of interest rates is
You
likely
got
to
me
be
into the
higher than
Sox
previously anticipated.
hype. And you know I'm long
If-
bias.
I
Sox life.
stress that
No
decision
worries.
has
You can
been
go
made
against
on
me,
this,
bro.
but if the
One of us
totality
gotta
the
win,
data
right?
were to indicate
Hopefully.
that faster tightening is warranted,
Imagine
we'd
if we
be
both
prepared
get
to
stopped
increase
out.
the
So I'm looking at this as like a 3-to-1 trade, right?
Restoring
Go for
price
it, my
stability
friend.
will likely
If we can
require
get the
that we maintain a restrictive
1590s.
stance of monetary policy for some time. Our overarching focus is
also
using our
still
tools
in
to bring
Nvidia, for
inflation
those of
back
you that might
down
be
to our
wondering.
2% goal and to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the longer run. The historical record cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. We will stay the course until the job is done. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Federal Reserve will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment.
TRKA trying to bounce here.
Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. I'll now recognize myself for 5 minutes for the purposes of questioning. Chairman Powell, there's been a lot of discussion over the last 24 hours about the effect of rate increases on the economy. A lot of debate about what you said
Added
yesterday
to
in the Senate.
success, gonna hold.
but no one asked you this directly. We have a March
Here, let me go
meeting
ahead and
coming
put
up,
up,
Open Markets Committee
let's have a
meeting
bit of fun
coming
here.
up
So this
in
is
2
Nvidia.
weeks.
The
How do you think about the March
S
meeting?
for
What's your
you.
approach to that?
This is a
What are we
SOX
likely
L
to
for
see?
me.
Thank you. So I won't repeat what I just said in my testimony, but if I turn to the March meeting, I guess I would say that we have some
2070 gets me
potentially
out on
important
SOX
data
S.
coming up. Data to be
Average is
analyzed.
2091
One of them
for
came
me.
out at exactly 10 o'clock. That would be the JOLTS report, which of course I haven't seen, being sitting here at 10 o'clock. But we're also getting a jobs report on Friday and a CPI and PPI inflation report next week. So those will be important and we'll scrutinize them. When we say that we're going to be looking at the totality of the data, which is what I said, that does include these reports yet to come. They're going to be important in our assessment of the
SOX S,
higher
stopped
readings
out.
that we have very recently received.
AMD
Moving
looking
my-
like it
the
wants to get
overall
through the
direction of
highs.
the economy and of our progress.
Moving my
in
stop
bringing
loss on
inflation.
Nvidia
Be
to break
careful
even
how
now.
I-
That one does not end up
Again,
going
we
red
have
on us.
not
We're
made
up,
any decisions at
100
the
and
March meeting. We're not going to do that
some
until we
change
see
on
the
it.
additional data. The larger point, though,
Put it in
is that we're not on a
perspective,
preset
that
path,
loss is
and that we
what?
will be guided by the
1/5
incoming
of
data
the
and
AMD
evolving outlook.
gains.
But you've also said higher, longer.
The SOX
that
L
still
trade
the
is now
case?
1-to-1. Target
Yes,
has
so,
been
and
met.
as I said in my
If you did
testimony,
like that trade,
we
if you
look
took
at
it,
the
feel
data
free to
since
what you want with
January
it.
and also the
Do not
revisions
wait
to
for
the
me.
November and December inflation data, and they suggest
not?
that the
Do
ultimate
not.
level of interest rates
What
is
is
likely
the
to be
repeat
higher than
email?
we'd expect.
399
those
showing up
economic
here
factors?
on the SPY. Big spot here.
Going
I
back
put green
to
and red
January,
levels for me
as I mentioned,
to kind of watch
the
here.
nice
What's going to happen?
softer inflation
We get
readings
that
of
up
November and
push
December were
towards
revised up.
400.
We got a
A
very
down take to
strong
396.
inflation report for January.
Watch
We got
it,
an
team.
extraordinarily strong employment report, very strong consumer spending, strong manufacturing data right across the board. And as I pointed out,
Big
some of
levels
that
here.
may have been affected by the very warm January weather, but nonetheless, all of it pointed in the same direction.
Okay, let's move to regulation.
Nvidia right here on
Chair
the
Powell,
left.
in January, the Federal Reserve put out a policy statement noting that digital asset custody is permissible activity if done in a safe and sound manner. However, if a bank can demonstrate to the Fed that it can conduct that activity in safe and sound manner, the capital impact of the SEC's staff accounting bulletin effectively precludes banks from offering digital asset custody service at any scale. Are you aware of this staff accounting bulletin by the Securities Exchange Commission and its impact on custodial services?
I am aware of it. Of course, it's an SEC accounting bill. This is SAB 121, I think, and
That's right.
Certainly aware of it. And we do follow general accepted accounting principles in our
Yes.
capital regulation.
Okay. Well, without objection, I'll submit to the submit for the record my letter to the bank regulators about this. So while the Fed says it can be done in a safe and sound manner, the Securities Exchange Commission has regulated it so that it cannot be done. Next question is certainly about bank capital standards. You got questions about this yesterday. Chair Barr has announced a holistic review of capital requirements. As I said in my opening statement, there are a lot of questions about this process. And previous statements by members of the Fed governors about the adequacy of current capital standards. And so while the Vice Chair for Supervision has announced that the Fed will engage in a holistic review of capital regulation, is that Fed staff? Is that done at the at the governor's, the board level? What is the process? There are a lot of questions that people have about his statements. And so we want to understand why it's necessary for the Fed to conduct a holistic review and what that process is. So, my general question is, do you still agree with your previous statements about the adequacy on a generalized basis of our financial system? Or are we to read into this that we're not adequately capitalized and there's a high level of risk in the system that we're unaware of at this point?
So the why really just is that as a new Vice Chair for Supervision, Vice Chair Barr has he's taking a fresh look at everything, including capital. That actually is typical of the last two people to have this job. So that makes a lot of sense. In terms of the process, it's certainly conducted under Vice Chair Barr's leadership with input from the staff and discussions with governors on that committee. And I'm kept broadly apprised about what's going on. But the bottom line is nothing has been Nothing has been proposed to the board. Nothing has been formalized at this point. It's a lot of work that's going on. I think discussions are going on, meetings with industry.
Real
and that
estate
kind of
leading,
thing.
energy,
When we get
basic
to that,
materials,
to the place where
financial
that's appropriate,
services, then tech.
the board will be carefully briefed. Ultimately, we'll vote on a proposal, and that proposal will go out for comment, and we'll solicit comment
I'll
from
go ahead and lock in my
any and all
stock sell.
commenters, and we'll look very
gains
carefully
here.
at that. So it'll be a wide open
Take
process
the
and
money and
assumption.
run.
Thank you. I yield back. Now
Kind of tempted
recognize
to do
the
it for Nvidia as well, but
gentlewoman
we'll
from
let it be.
California, the ranking member, Ms. Waters.
Thank you very much. Chair Powell.
Sometimes you got to take that
I
money and run,
agree
right?
with what you said.
At least one of us made some money.
That Congress must.
You got the AMD
raise
trade. I got the
debt
Nvidia and the
because of
stock
what
sell.
you described
That's it,
as
bro.
the highly
We
risky
spreading the wealth to everybody.
consequences of
That's
failing
it.
to do so. You
I think
are
one of the
perhaps
most important thing,
expert
and I'll
on the debt
shut
limit.
Waters off a little bit for that, is I think this is really important, team. Number one thing is if you want to trade with other traders, try to support each other. There's no need to be relatively looking at each other. How much did he make? How much did I make? How much did Ryan make today? No. We want to support each other, right? We want to be here for each other, backing each other on the process approach. Just like Zunaid right there made money on an opposite trade that I did. I'm not going to view it as a negative thing. I'm going to view it as a positive thing. He did what he needed to do to make money. And sometimes it's going to go in my favor. Sometimes it isn't. Let's try to support each other, win or lose. Even if they're on the opposite side from you. Well, I have a tendency to think that there's not many communities that actually feel that way. So if we can be that one to separate from the rest, I would love to see it.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, Mitch. I think comparing yourself to other traders out there in every way is poison.
It's poison, man.
It gets you away from your process. It gets you away from what works to you, for what works for you. It gets you away from your own risk management, which is the only thing that's really going to save you and make you profitable. I think it's all. I think it's really dangerous to do that. And I agree. I'd like to be the key. That's why I love seeing all of the help and the uplift that we have in our community. It's the absolute best. Shelly, you missed Buddy again. He was in here rubbing his face on the microphone, but you weren't. So you missed him.
We'll look to see if ASO can keep going. AAL starting to get to the upside there. There's a lot of resistance in the 1655s. I'll look for a nice little up move. I'll put Waters back on so we can hear her.
Can you describe for us the risk you see if Congress continues to delay action on the debt limit, both for our economy?
The debt limit
and for
doesn't matter,
individuals and
man.
families?
Let me start briefly by saying that we have no role and seek no role in what is really at the heart of fiscal policy, except
Thank you.
I will limit myself to the two things that other Fed chairs have said about this. One is just
X
that
looks
Congress
interesting
raising the
for
debt
me. You
ceiling
guys
is
know I got
really
in
the
that
only
one
alternative.
yesterday,
There are no rabbits in hats
2912s.
to be pulled out
I have an
on
order
this.
to add
Two really
down
is
here on
just that
pullbacks
no one should assume that the Fed
towards
can
90s,
protect the
but
economy
it might just keep
from-
starting to get the move right back up.
the
X.
non-payment of the government's bills.
New
let
Core is
alone
another
a-
one you can
a
look at
debt default
on the
something
pullback.
of
Steel
that nature,
Dynamics.
which we don't think will happen here, but no one should be thinking
Kinda
that
like
we have
this
the
one.
tools to protect the economy from all the potential effects of that.
Thank you very much. I don't want to miss what you said. I somewhat quoted you when you said that Congress must raise the debt limit because of what you described as a highly risky consequence of failing to do so. Is that your language?
Well, must in the sense that it's really the only way for the debt limit to be raised is Congress must act. Again, these are fiscal discussions, and we don't want to be a part of them, and really they're between elected officials.
But you are an expert on the subject.
Well, I spent a lot of time on this, as you'll recall.
As an expert
prior
on
years.
this subject, you are concerned about the high risky consequence of failing to do so. Is that correct? Did I correctly quote you?
That's correct.
Thank you. And so, again, let me just go a little bit further.
I like the Steel Dynamics
chair
trade. If it could pull
mentioned
back
that
to
he had
30-60s here.
Either written a letter or
AMD crossed
maybe
up
even
there.
had some conversation.
Let's
Look
go.
at that.
Janet Yellen
85s,
about,
man.
uh,
What a
the time
move
limits,
today. I'm glad I got a
that
piece of
she
it.
had
but
attempted
man,
to describe.
Come on.
Is it your
Come on. Keep going.
understanding
Keep going.
that
Keep
she
going.
said she could
and
maneuver
away.
and kind of manipulate things so
On
that she
my
paid the
own.
bills that were coming due but this could only last until about June. Is that your understanding?
And tell you what in the
Honestly,
chat, take those Nvidia
really
calls
have
that
to
we had called
not
out.
try to
I wonder what they're
interpret
going for now.
Secretary's words.
Nvidia.
That's really up
I mean,
to
that
her.
just made new highs. We're still in the trade with our cute little 50 shares. We're up about 130 bucks.
Can
So
she
looking
keep
for
us
250.
afloat until about June?
I don't, honestly, that's not for me to say. These are really questions for the secretary. I'm sorry, Ms. Waters.
Have you had any conversation with
Exactly,
her about
man.
the statement that she
Has
made
nothing to
about
do
being
with what he
able,
does.
to
These politicians,
manipulate
man.
the
I
debt
mean, I'm trying so hard to not
account,
say
I'll
et
make the
anything.
cetera.
comment.
Did you have that conversation with her?
The
Saying-
conversation
trying so
that
hard.
I have privately.
You guys
don't
know I
go
don't even shy
anywhere.
away.
I don't talk about them with anybody, and the conversations I have with Secretary Yellen, I don't.
Okay, and I don't want to get you
Gentlelady
in a-
time is expired.
Up, up.
The gentlelady's time is expired.
Did I have equal time with you?
You sure did. He went over time.
If I did, thank you.
Uh-oh.
I yield back.
I now recognize the Vice Chair of the full committee, Mr. Hill of Arkansas.
Absolute worst.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chair Powell, for being
It's
with
not
us.
my
You're
fault you
welcome
took 3
anytime.
minutes to
Don't
talk
wait till
about
we
your
ask. If
agendas.
you want to volunteer and come, we love having your views on many topics. Thanks for talking about your commitment to price stability. You know, we've had this discussion last June between us of, I do think that's the primary mission of the Fed, and I think it should be the
Good
only
job. Great job. Great trade.
priority of the Fed is
Yeah,
price
man. Shout out to
stability.
you, bro.
Because it's the legislative branch and the executive branch that really are responsible
See.
for, quote, full employment and having that policy.
Yikes.
I shouldn't even be laughing. I'm something
Right. So
bad is
your
going to happen to me
commitment to
because of that.
price stability is welcome
Damn case either
Yikes.
by
funny.
this committee.
Ooh, look at X go, baby.
Yesterday in the Senate,
Let's go.
you suggested that you
NTR,
supported a
I'm gonna be upset
regulatory
about this one,
framework,
team.
a
This should have been
broadly
another,
regulatory
like,
framework for digital
I've been trying
assets.
more
Is that
to
right?
practice
Yes.
buy the
Is
buy
it
the
used as
rips,
if we
like
had
buy
a
like sell the rips,
framework
buy the
here in the United
dips.
States
This would have been a
for
perfect approach.
more
6% on the upside,
transparency
buy
and
the
rules
dip,
on the road for both
look for
sides.
another like maybe 4% on the upside. That'd be 10% in the name
Would it- if
between
we
a
had those
range.
rules of the road
I'm gonna try to do more and more of that, team. I like to tell you guys what I think about and what I'm trying to work more on. This is one of them. So the same thing in X. Made 6% on the upside. Gonna look to make 4% on this upside move and to make 10% on X in the last 2 weeks.
To assure that it's all done in a safe and sound manner when we're talking about banks.
Right.
All right,
And then
let's get back to
my
some
next
Powell
point
life.
would be exactly that, to help banks, investment brokers, custodians understand how they could even participate in that market in a safe and sound manner. You agree that a regulatory framework would help on that?
Yes.
And then finally, we've grown up in our country, and it's unique in the world, that we have a dual banking system. And due to a quirk here in Congress over 100 years ago, we have insurance is regulated exclusively by the states. So would you believe that that regulatory framework would also have to preserve some sort of role subject to safety and soundness, you know, for states to play some role in that regulatory framework for digital assets?
Let me just say, I think that it certainly works in banking and insurance. I have no problem with those.
Right.
I'd have to
But
think
you
about,
think it could, you consider it possible that it could also work in digital assets?
certainly possible.
Yeah. Thank you. Turning to a topic that's been a subject here for nearly 4 years, central bank digital currencies. Article 1 of the Constitution reserves coins and coin issuance, money issuance to the Congress.
All right,
We've in
Joe,
turn
I'm gonna head
delegated
out
that to the
before I
U.S.
fall asleep on
Treasury,
this,
which is since
Fed meeting call.
1912
How
engaged
folks
the
watch
Federal
through it.
Reserve as their fiscal agent.
Bro,
You've
fall asleep.
testified
I'm here to
many
make money.
times before.
I mean,
that
shoot, I'm in a trade.
to
We making
issue a
money.
central
Nvidia
bank
going
digital
strong.
currency, that
I'm
would
actually going to
have
recap
be
it with that
authorized
before I
by
head
the
out. So we're in
Congress.
Nvidia because we had those calls coming in.
Yeah,
We
go
have
for it,
50
bro.
shares at 236.76. We're going to take gains at 241.72. Since we're already up about $125, my stop loss is right above break even, so that I could afford at least a $1 sandwich and maybe a Hershey Sunday pie at Burger King. But it's always a pleasure hanging out with you, Ryan. We've made some money today. Let's see how this Nvidia trade goes. I'll update y'all tomorrow when we come back on the show, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Take
Get
care,
that pie,
Zunaid.
boy.
Yeah.
Get that pie.
CTRM, one of the things I noticed it late, unfortunately, so feels like a huge chase here for me. But CTRM, this stock was down huge on looks like on earnings, and is almost trying to fill the gap all the way back up to 135. This thing moved already from 80 cents to 120, and now looks like it's going for that gap fill there at 134. Definitely late to this. No trade in this for me. Man, what a weird day. Just not any good. I didn't even take losses. It's just I don't have much. Like I'm not.
It's just a nothing day, man. Nothing burger type of day. There's nothing wrong with it, my friend. Nothing wrong with it.
It's part of it.
Yep, it's a part of the game. That is for certain. I'm looking to average into SEDG, but I'm just watching this 15-minute reversal like a hawk. Looking to see if we can hold 318.40s on pullback right now. Start making our way back, and I can add one more share of SEDG. Just keep working it in there. One thing is on SEDG, it's a $300 name. I can't go crazy just going into a whole bunch of share size at once. That's how I get destroyed on SEDG. So I go in at very small piecing to work my position up.
The ranking member of the Capital Markets Subcommittee, Mr. Sherman of California, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for bringing to our
reversal.
committee's attention several years ago
Max
the
N.
importance of tough legacy LIBOR, some
Continuing.
$16 trillion of instruments where the creditor wouldn't know how much the debtor was supposed to pay. This committee, we passed legislation over a year before the LIBOR hit the fan. You issued regulations 7
look at
months
save.
before the absolute deadline. I hope we do this in other areas, and it's my understanding that with those final regulations, we're done, and we've solved
Every
the
chart I'm
LIBOR
clicking
issue.
through here, there's just
Is
nothing.
that correct?
There's nothing.
My understanding as well.
People talk
No
about
volume, a lot of the smaller
inflation, and
names.
they somehow say that it's a matter of the personalities and politics in the United States. Others argue that the entire world is hit by inflation because Ukraine and COVID. I think we've got the answer to this question in that inflation is considerably higher in the Eurozone than it is in the United States today. And it's very hard to say that Joe Biden is responsible for inflation in Germany. I commend the ranking member for bringing up the debt limit and the harm that's already done to our economy. If we solve the problem tomorrow, we had less investment than we would have had yesterday. And I would say that I commend the president. He's going to issue a budget plan tomorrow. And
All right, Mitch, I'm
perhaps
going to take
in your
off.
time,
I
one
got
of our
nothing going on.
Republican
These guys
colleagues
are
will
putting
tell
me to
us
sleep and
when the
making me
Republican
angry with a lot of the
budget
crap
plan
that they're
will be
saying.
released.
We'll be back.
No worries,
tomorrow.
my friend.
Eagerly awaiting
We'll
it.
have a better
Housing is a huge part of
better list of
inflation.
stocks here to trade.
And
Take care, everybody.
There you go. No worries, Ryan. You can go ahead. Ryan's hopping. I'm staying with you guys. If only we can get some likes up. Where we at on the likes game today, guys? Like always, I need to keep an eye on this, guys. This is what keeps us on. This is what helps us continue to grow here on live trading. So we're at 123. We didn't reach 200 again. So that's going to be the same goal here to keep me on past 11. But you guys got to get that by 10:45. 200 likes. Can we get it, team?
Their down payment to the wrong account, or will the seller, the buyer, be tricked into, or the escrow agent be tricked into sending the money to someone other than the seller of the property? We talked about this back in 2001, where I urged you with your FedNow system, which I'm glad is on track to move forward, to have what the Brits have. When you send the wire, you identify not only the number of the account you're sending it to, but also the name of the person or entity that's supposed to receive that. At that time, back in 2001, you said that payee matching is not the best way to do it. There are other ways to do it, and that you'd be happy to get back to me as to how you're going to make sure that an email from a Nigerian prince does not get the wired funds, particularly in a housing transaction, wired to an account number that turns out to be in Lagos. What progress do you have? when can home buyers have a system where they're sending it to a named payee as well as to a number?
So I hope we did come back in a timely way to you on that. But it's a problem you've brought to our attention, you're right, over many years. And we continue to focus on that.
Well, the bureaucrats who are working on this don't want to do what the Brits did. They've proven it can be done. You said you were going to accomplish the same goal in some other way.
Man, this is tough today. Let's go, guys.
Nor are you aware of any solution. I would hope that you would go back and say, we don't want to add this anxiety.
No worries, it happens, team, right? At least Ryan got out of here. He felt it.
Go back to the drawing board.
Appreciate the love, Will.
What the Brits have done and have pay matching. Finally, as to crypto, cryptocurrency says what it means.
Coinbase.
Hidden money.
Ripping.
That's what it means. And if we
Thought we were
impose
Roblox.
know your customer
SE?
and anti-money laundering
Ooh,
statutes to it,
SE.
it won't be crypto anymore. What crypto wants is to have part of its ecosystem above the waterline.
This one's being
visible
watched
and
today
subject
like a
to know your
hawk.
customer, and then have the rest of the iceberg below the waterline.
Gentleman's
time has
time's
expired.
expired. I will now go to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions, now recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman McHenry, thank you very much. Chairman Powell, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate not only your professionalism, but your direction at us. Chairman Powell, I know that the Fed considers divergences, and you talked about it in
Take a
Asian
small
spoken
shot
word
in this SE in a
statement
second here.
about consumer price
Team, be
index,
careful with this one. This one's a
personal
very
consumer
fast trade. You got to know how you're
expenditures,
trading on this one.
inflation, GDP, and all these things are talked about in your report, monetary report.
Gotta be
of
careful with this one,
March
team.
3, 2023. Thank you. A couple days ago, I had an opportunity to see that an economist, Arthur Laffer, produced a report that spoke about literally this country doubling GDP. Now, I know we're putting CPI, PCE, inflation, all these things into a mix. But he said that if we made changes in health care to efficiencies, we could double the current GDP rate. My question to you that I hope you can answer is, what do you think about that? Is that something that is in this document that I have missed? And it's seemingly to
Just drawing out the
person
trade
who
for you guys of how and
follows
see
this,
it,
as
so I don't
Art
interrupt too
Laffer
much.
does for 50
Just watching
years.
it. Of course,
What do
I
you
needed to
think
hold kind of the
is an important way to
77.86
look at
pullback here,
efficiencies in health
but I want to get in below
So
78s.
That's not in our monetary policy.
If I could get in below 78s, I can risk off right down here to like 75 and 70. This one's a big mover yesterday, and it could get moving again off the hourly supports. So I'm looking for a deeper time frame of support to come into play here. And then it held like kind of 77.50s, now trying to hold 78s here, and then get back up there towards like 79. I can sell a lot of it at 78.50s towards 79.
This is fiscal policy, but I'm responding to your. So I would think that he may have meant that if we had a delivery system that saved that
Took some Roku at 60 for a day trade. I can't tell you what to do, that my friend. That's just really not up to me. But you took it at you took some Roku 60 for a day trade. Should have keep 10%. Always just consider your own trading plan. What was your ideas before you got into the trade? One thing I recommend, and at least we talk about this on the book club, is not changing plans too much, right? What was your plan before the trade? Try to go back to that, right? Because that's your plan. That's no one else's plan but your own. I think that's sometimes we get greedy, but the key here is always taking a profit to loss ratio, really looking to nail that. 60s looked like it was a nice bottoming today, but you got to always think about right now, this market is kind of more of a take your money and run market. Ask yourself, what's the current environment? Do you like this trade? Do you think that this should be kind of the money that you like to go for? I can't answer those questions for you,
In terms of-
but I can at least know the type of questions to be asking, because that's what I'd be asking myself, right? I got to understand my trade. How do I go about it?
Does not have a role to play and does not seek a role. in that.
Does not see a role. And yet, as I look at this, you've got a role in projecting confidence.
Is the CMT program worth
You've
it?
got a
If you want to
role
be in this
in
business for a long
education.
time
You've
and
got a
do what I
role
do, like
using the
here, what you guys
workplace.
see
You've
me
got a
doing,
role.
yeah.
My talk,
But
my discuss,
it's
interest
difficult.
rates,
It's very
yet my
difficult,
point is
SRT8.
it's such a
It's not like it's
staggering
easy.
number
There's a lot of
that
easier programs
impacts
out there
us.
that you can go for.
Just love to have you go back. Perhaps we from this committee need to give you some
And another thing
direction
is,
on that.
I'm not going
I
to be a
think
doctor,
you've-
but I'd love to have
your
Mitch
testimony
Hoch,
today
comma, CMT.
recognizes the staggering impact on that. I don't think it's political. The answer may be political, but I think the actual numbers are not.
All right, guys, you guys know I
It's
took
an
a swing today on
inefficiency
Sprouts
that is
Farms off
happening
this
across the
33. You're
country,
going to hold
not
off
a
the low
regional
here,
matter.
which
So
is down there towards
wanted to get your take on that,
32.76.
and
Want
I
this to come
appreciate
back
you
through
here as
34s and make
always.
its way to 35.
Thank you for
That'd
your
be a nice
confidence
gain
and your
here.
hard
And this
work
was
that
off
you
the
give.
sympathy move from Kroger's
Chairman,
continuing
I
in the
yield back.
strength. We'll look for that Sprouts Farms and Casey's to have a nice day today. This is one that I was talking about on pre-market
Thank you
prep.
very much.
We'll see what happens on
Chairman.
those.
And
And
welcome.
X. Can I get another
Yeah.
ad? I'll let you guys know.
Chairman Powell. Now, Chairman Powell, listen to me.
Spy pulling back here,
very
team, fast.
carefully here, because I think we're on the verge of making a terrible mistake. Back in 2008, if you recall, Barney Frank then and Miss Waters asked me to take a look and kind of work.
Looking for a pullback here in the
with
40s
you
to
and the
take
Fed.
a
You
small little
were
risk here in
a
Apple. It's
board
going to be
member
really
in
quickly.
2008. And we came to the conclusion
Took a little
that
bit
we
there.
needed a more equitable playing field.
Took a tiny bit there on
between
Apple.
our
Going to risk
large
off this kind of
banks,
bottoming action right here
like
towards
Goldman
52.30s.
Sachs,
152.30s. It's my risk.
and our regional and smaller banks like Truist and our community banks. And we changed that.
See if Apple can get back to the
But
upside
now
here.
I hear that the Fed and the FDIC
Man, these guys are saying nothing today.
Rule, which
I can't even handle this. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to focus in here. I just feel like this is just pointless.
created, and you and I did this back in 2008, and you remember. That were created for the Goldman Sachs and for them. And now we want to apply these rules to the regional banks. There's a big difference. And we've omitted this difference if you proceed in this manner. I
Actually, know
think
if I
it's
get
very
hit out of this Apple
misguided.
trade.
It works. And you and I worked on this. You recall this. You were a board member. And we saw that we needed to have a better playing field to protect. And if you all go
All right, I'll take
along
some
with
names
this,
from you guys in the
it could
chat.
put
This
many
is just too much. I'm going to lower that. Let's keep taking a look at what else you guys are talking about. CRWM, CrowdStrike, bottom fishing, can't blame you. LFST, smaller name. Oxy price action, pulling back significantly in Oxy. Now you're actually going into the red after the pop at the open. DKS. Ooh, NCAA contract looks like. Nice. This one I actually want to see continue going here because that's going to help out my ASO trade. So on ASO, I'm actually going to add the tiniest bit here to look for a nice little push here. All right, just added a little bit on that one. Averaged in at 60/60s. Going to look for a push to 62. Sell majority of it, and then look to see if we can ride this back here towards kind of the trend line. You can see here, there's a nice little trend line. If we can get to the 62, I want to take majority of it out here and then look for the breakout towards the 64s. We'll see what happens there. on ASO. And we'll see what happens on Apple. Will I get this move or not? You guys know where I'm risking it off, the bottom there. We'll look to see if it gets back up there. And I want to see if the SPY can push back. If it cuts through the 398, I'll probably just get stopped out on that move. We'll see if it comes back here and reclaims VWAP. Yeah, I shut the sound off. Yeah, you can turn it off, please. No worries, team. All right, let me check how we are on the light game. We got 171, team. I'm about to head out of here. We didn't get to 200 likes today, unfortunately. Looks like I didn't do my job today. But I'll try to do better next time to get some more likes up in here so that we can keep going towards Benzinga Live. That's going to start up in a little bit. Apple is recovering, though. That doesn't look too bad for me. If I could get it back there towards 153s, I'll take majority of it out and then look to see if we can actually get a move in Apple today. A lot of support down here in the same area, so that's why I went after it. We'll see if it holds there or not. AAL, we'll look to see if we can hold on AAL like the hourly pattern, but definitely don't want to see it break like 625s again, go back to 16, right? So 625s would get me out on the downside turn there for American Airlines. Looking for a push above 1650s towards 1675 and 17. Then we'll really start pushing on this name. You can see it here. If I could get back through the trend line on this swing back to 17, it won't be looking too bad. And definitely catch us later today, team. We do have a swing trading show that I want you guys to catch. If you guys haven't caught us already, start swing trading. Today, we will have on, of course, Beat the Bench's own Scott Brown. I want you guys to check out a CMT. Yes, he's a CMT team. Scott Charts. You guys can check him out on Twitter. He's going to be with me at 3 p.m. Eastern. I want you guys to check out our swing trading show. That's where I talk about all these swing trading shows. Yesterday, I think I took like 4 or 5 trades during the show. So if you guys want to check it out, definitely, I recommend it. I mean, I run it, right? So you guys go ahead, check that out. Let me know what you guys think about. And if you guys do some swing trading of your own in the chat. Tesla. That's a hard one. It looks like I missed the turnaround in Tesla to the downside, but I'm not going to battle this. This looks like it could recover. I wouldn't be shorting here, but it depends. If you're getting off the VWAP, there's always a plan, right? I never think that a trade is wrong. I always just, the importance for me is what's your risk to return and how's your process, right? That's what matters to me in a lot of the trades out there. We'll see what happens in the markets. Can I be able to get this Apple trade? Find out, team. You guys can check it out also on, of course, Start Swing Trading. We'll look for that 153 move here towards the close so that I can go ahead and bounce. Max N new highs, Quantum. That won't be too bad for my SEDG trade, right? I talked about the 15 minutes. Now this is really starting to look like it's reversing here. I'm going to give it one chance to cut towards 319s again, but I might add another one on this and see what happens to SEDG. Like always, thanks, Trout. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you like always. You guys in the chat. Nino, you got them diamond hands? We'll find out. AMD, top trade of the day. Killer trade on AMD. That was definitely a hell of a nice trade there on the quick pullback. Saw the relationship, talked about it. Nvidia was going higher. Qualcomm was going higher. Soxel, the SPY was starting to turn. I took a quick assessment, stuck to the risk and reward. That's what it's always about. It's not necessarily about the gains here. It's about the process approach. I hope you guys enjoy that. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. And did we get to 200? 190. I was going to try to stick around, but like always, team, I'll try to do better tomorrow to maybe get those likes up. We'll see you guys next time. Check me out, of course, on Twitter. You guys can keep up with everything that I do at MoneyMitchBZ on Twitter. And you guys can keep up with these swing trades and day trades. Just ask me questions on there. By all means, I'm always here for some answers. We'll see you next time, and hit the like on the way out.